You are ready.
Welcome to Watching Wyrd, your weekly dive into the wonderfully warped realms of cinema. Here we explore everything from cult classics and campy horror to dystopian worlds and the downright bizarre. Meet our quirky cast of cinematic connoisseurs, each with a taste for the odd, the offbeat, and the wonderfully weird. First up, meet Alan Gamboa, our aficionado of the weirdest and wildest cult and grindhouse classics. Alan's got a love for every B-movie monster that's ever graced the screen. Scott Baker is our resident expert in delightful cheese. He's here to defend every badly animated monster and overreacted scream. And then there's Rich Ristucci, our resident guru of martial arts, flicks, and apocalyptic futures, always bringing that action-packed energy to the team. And last but not least, there's me, Hadley Thorne, the cinematic curator of this crazy group of kids. I've got a knack for finding forgotten gems and underrated thrillers that you need to know about. Watching Wyrd is brought to you by the Wyrd Realities Network, where all weird souls are welcome. We're a vibrant community of writers, readers, pop culture enthusiasts, armchair ghost hunters, psychics, and healers. If you share our passion for the strange and unexplained, join us for shows live streaming 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a week. And if you want to stay up to date on our latest adventures, be sure to subscribe to our monthly newsletter at weirdrealities.net or follow us on social media using our link tree, Wyrd Realities. And don't forget, that's Wyrd with a Y. Now grab your popcorn, don that tinfoil hat, dim the lights, and join us for a cinematic thrill ride as we get busy watching Wyrd. Hey guys!
Hey,
Hey, cool intro.
I like that.
Welcome to tonight's episode of Watching Wyrd.
I like that. Evening, folks.
We need to be
Craig.
more professional.
Hey, Greg.
So
How's
tonight
everybody's evening, Max?
we're missing the usual suspect, Scott Baker, but we're going to dive into 2 wartime classics, Das Boot and The Great Escape. And before we get started, happy belated Veterans Day to all our friends and family who have served in the military. We thank you for your service.
Definitely.
All the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't see on here who joined us.
So we've got Craig and Max right now.
All right.
Both our fans.
Important. We're missing some. Landa. There she is. Hey, Landa.
Talking about you.
Hey, Landa. She picked Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's going to get you. Where'd Alan go?
Alan, your screen is black. Oh, he's back.
You back?
You're back.
Yeah.
Alan Gamboa sent me 2 wonderful t-shirts and a signed copy of his book, Hunt the Night, which I am eager to read. It is what I'm going to do with me when I fly to Atlanta.
Let me know what you think of that one.
I will. I've really been looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of up your alley. If you have an alley.
I like vampires. I like blood. I like the stuff. So.
Oh, good.
So what have you been watching? Have you watched the Rabbits yet?
No, I want to. I got a question for you about
He went away, so I'll show you. This is my Gamboa collection, but I'm missing Hunt the Night. I don't know where it is.
Well, I got me my brand new collection. What were you asking?
I like where I am on it.
Well, you missed. I brought this guy.
Well, Scott's not here.
Oh,
So you're right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Signed. So I remember how I said that Ravenous was signed. It's not. Salvation is signed.
I don't think I mentioned this, but I was speaking to one of our number 1 fans the other day, and we decided that in 2026 that we need to go to New Hampshire for our yearly get together.
Okay. How come New Hampshire? Not that I mind.
Because that's where Max lives.
Oh,
Oh, you're talking about Max. I see.
in
Hey,
fact, let's
Casey.
have it at Max's house.
Yeah, we should do it at Max.
Everybody, 2026, it's at Max's house.
Yeah, good plan.
Here's on Max.
He's in.
Beers on Max, Max. And hot dogs. Can't forget the hot dogs.
We can do Massachusetts. We can do New Hampshire. One of those places.
That's all kind of the same place. Max will say it's different, but if you're, living in Mississippi as you do, like 2 hours away from you is still Mississippi. There's pretty much no place you can go in New England that's 2 hours away and not be in a different state. Maybe
Wow.
okay, 2.5 still.
Well, y'all need to
Yeah.
find a location for us, and we will descend upon it like the locusts that we are.
Well, you know what? You guys can come to Vegas. It's only 6 hours away from my house.
I don't know. Some creepy stuff has happened out in Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is. I don't know. We almost moved there. I'm glad we didn't. Nothing bad against it, just different lifestyle.
We have
There's
forest
people who
fires
live
around here.
underground in Vegas, aren't there? Like, there's like a whole city underneath the city, isn't it?
I don't know. Wow, interesting.
Chicago. There's a
I'll
whole
have to
city
look
in
it
the
up.
city of Chicago.
Yeah, there's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they're homeless because their home is underneath the city, but there's, I think, a lot of people who live in the sewers under.
Oh, I didn't. I know.
Right now. Look at this place. Is it sewer? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Rich, you got everything. There we go. I'm bringing up the comments. All right.
Doc showed up. Hey, Doc.
Hey, Doc. Let's see.
Right, Max. It looked like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Next, tell me storm system, not sewers. Sorry, Craig. The alligators being in the sewers.
Craig, how's your dog? How's your puppy, Craig?
Yeah, how's it doing?
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bullshit is what that is. That pisses me off to no end. Poor guy.
Well, y'all ready to get started with tonight's double feature?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Who doing who, what, first, when, where?
Well, you want to do the Great Escape?
I'll do the Great Escape, but do that boot first.
Oh, okay. All right. This one, I like this movie, but it's a long movie, very long movie. It takes place in 1941. It's seen through the eyes of Lieutenant, I think his name's Werner. He's a war correspondent. It is assigned to U-boat 96. And the captain's played Jürgen Prochnow, who was in Air Force One, House of the Dead. I mean, he really sunk into some B-movie roles. I like him more. So the war correspondent, he's all, for the party and all that. He's all Germanied up because he's shiny and new, and he gets aboard the submarine, and there's a bunch of ideological differences between the new crew and the older crew members. They're all war weary, cynical. They're not too sure about what's going on anymore. And this is just 1941. And the captain is Jürgen Prochnow. He's really cynical. He's really bitter about the war. He's not sure, what to believe in anymore. And so this one follows them through sinking of cargo ships, a massive storm. There's a part where they almost all die because they have to submerge so low and they almost get crushed. And then they end up they fire on a ship, a wounded ship. They think the crew's dead and they fire on it with their torpedoes and they find out that no, the crew's still on there alive. And they watch these guys jump into the water. They're I don't know if they're British or I think they're British. Jump into the water on fire and stuff, and they can't swim out to, they can't go out to save them and stuff. That kind of screws them up a little bit too, doing that. Some of the crew. So they're headed back home for Christmas. At least they think they are, and they get rerouted to Gibraltar. And there's the issue where they almost all die and stuff. Finally, they make it back to port. And if you haven't seen this movie, I'm probably going to run it for you. But I'm going to give the ending because this movie is like 1981, I think, came out. Yeah. They get back to port. They're all happy and stuff. Here comes them damn allies flying overhead. They bomb the shit out of the port, shoot the port up, and kill most of the guys in the submarine. The captain gets shot. I don't know if he dies or not. And they sink U-951. And Lieutenant Werner's just there watching it all happen, sadly. This is a claustrophobic nightmare. It's one of the better submarine movies, I think, out there. The acting's good. I mean, that was a dub. The acting's really good in it. I can see why it built Jurgen Prochnow's career on that. Why he came over to American movies after that. Good flick. I recommend it. I don't know how much they have. Oh, they built a lot of the submarines. A lot of the props they built. I mean, they look pretty cool because they really were props. I mean, made for it, not just some, crappy. Hey, let's use this cardboard box. They actually use the U-boats for Raiders Lost Ark. So, what say you about this movie?
Boss? No, boss is muted. So when I think of the word cinematography, I think of, great sweeping, beautiful areas of just like nature or cities or some kind of scape.
Right.
But this had some fantastic cinematography, and it was just like you said, Alan. It was tight and terrifying, and you have to understand that anybody in that submarine, it's got to take a special type of person. I'm a big dude, so I couldn't really do it anyway. But even if I was a smaller guy, I have no idea how submariners do it. Even now, even in the big boats now, I have no idea. So that was one thing. Secondly, Jurgen Prochnow is in The Keep, one of my favorite movies.
That's right.
I love that movie. But this movie's got a lot of great scenes, but it's just way too long. This is another movie it's not really an action movie, it's a drama. And it was up for several Academy Awards. I think it won 2. Best director maybe, I can't remember what it was. It's a good film. I definitely recommend it, but you're in for you better bring some snacks because you're in for the long haul on this one. It's longer than it needed to be. They could have cut out probably 45 minutes of this movie and it would have been great. But what it does portray is, the tension in the crew when there's like several mishaps that happen, including, getting depth charged. And it just, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how those, both sides or anybody in the submarine does it, getting depth charge and all that stuff. But I think one of the better scenes is one of the crew, I think he was a machinist. He panics, and the scene is great. It's a great scene about how they restrain him, and so he won't make any noise. So the destroyer that's depth charging them can't find them. But the guy just totally overacted it.
He did.
It was like, it was just terrible. But the scene is great. I mean, what they're doing is great. But that one actor it is what it is. It didn't ruin the movie. And again, I recommend this movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. But there were a few scenes like that. There was a scene at the very beginning when they were in, was it a French bordello? I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's a good scene too. It's actually, this guy goes on like this drunken rampage and he doesn't like Hitler. I think one of the better characters in the movie is was he an XO? The guy? He's a Nazi. He loves the Nazi party. He stands for everything the Nazis stand for, and he's like this meticulously groomed guy, and he takes way too long in the head, and the other sailors want to get in there and do whatever they have to do in the head. And the guy's in there like grooming himself, and he's just a bastard. He's a bad guy, and he's pretty powerful on the ship. He was the XO, is that he was? I can't remember what he was.
I think he was the XO on that.
Yeah.
I think he was. Yeah.
But anyway, he was a great actor because you saw him, in the moment I saw him, I was like, I hate that guy. You know how it is. So this is it's a good film. I don't know if it's Academy Award worthy, but the Academy Awards tend to give those awards to crazy long dramas, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it. See it. It's worth it. And like Alan said, everybody's all happy-go-lucky and everything's great right at the end, and then they're like, "Oh shit, everybody's dead." So that was kind of a surprise. I did not remember that from when I had seen this before. I completely forgot the end of the movie and the scene. But it is what it is. So I liked it, and I will definitely. I'm going to watch it again, but I think the fast forward button is going to be my friend. Hadley, what did you think?
Oh yeah. Well, I believe it was a miniseries.
There was.
They wrapped it into a movie.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
My turn?
Your turn.
Your turn, sorry.
So, yesterday I watched a short documentary about what happened to that submarine that went down to the depths to see the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
Not what I should have watched before I saw this movie. And just so y'all know, it all happened very fast, but the people that were in that submarine that imploded last year were liquefied. And apparently that's what happens when you're in a submarine and all that pressure squishes it. And so this movie is very claustrophobic. So if you're claustrophobic, don't watch it, because even if you're not, you're going to feel that way watching it. This was a harrowing and very realistic portrayal of being in a submarine. And as Rich said about how long it was, I'm convinced it was that long, so you felt like you were on the submarine with them.
That's what she said.
It was a very cramped movie. Again, I felt like I was on the U-boat, and I'm sure y'all mentioned this, but this was loosely based on the experiences of a German war correspondent.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that it was filmed, I will say that it held up because of the subject matter, and I think because of the way it was filmed. But the underwater sequences were groundbreaking for the time that this was filmed. And I think it's a very relevant movie today. Like I said, I haven't seen anything. I hated that I'm about to say this, but I wish it had been dubbed because I got tired of reading and something else was going on. So probably would have enjoyed it.
Fair enough. I think there was a lot of dialogue for submarine.
Said, which is that I don't even know where his opponent is. Oh, there it is. It must have been terrifying in the theater.
Oh yeah.
I can only imagine.
Well, like Rich said, it was a little too long. That's what she said. But it was busted down from a miniseries into a movie. So you had breaks. Yeah. And you had a break if you're watching it weekly or whatever they did back in 1981.
Yeah. I actually thought the movie came out first, but you're right. I think they did. They turned the miniseries into a movie.
Mm-hmm. But it's one that should be watched, definitely, and it's definitely an anti-war movie.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say this: the German submarines during World War II was phenomenal, and it's just such an interesting topic. So seeing this older movie was really interesting. 'Cause I think the last one I watched was the one with Tom Hanks, where he's the captain being
Greyhound.
punished by the Germans.
Yeah.
And that's
That's a good
usually
movie.
the perspective we get. But it was really good.
Oh yeah, they used to make tons of these movies in the 50s and the 40s,
Yeah.
early 60s. They used to make tons of these. I think the last one was like U-571, which was a bigger movie. With
McConaughey.
McConaughey, Bon Jovi, John
Yep.
Bon Jovi, for a minute.
David Keith.
Yeah, David Keith.
Bill
That had a
Paxton.
good cast.
Bill
Yeah,
Paxton.
yeah. That had a good cast, actually. I'm surprised Jurgen Prochnow wasn't in it as a prisoner, But, no, this is a good movie. It's a good movie. It's just long, a little long. Especially for nowadays standards, we're not used to anymore. A lot of movies used to be a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
Now we're to the Avengers style of movies. A
I'm
little bit of dialogue.
gonna go out. Sorry, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I thought both movies this week were kind of long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're both of them encroach upon 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're good and long. But I think with Das Boot, again, it's going to come off like I didn't like the movie, but I did. I liked the movie. But I think that with a shorter movie, you would have kept people's attentions more. I mean, I know it won an Academy Award, but this time it was kind of hard to get through. Although I did like it, I know that those are on mutually exclusive, but I really did. I think it was hard to get through, but I enjoyed it. I kind of wanted to turn it off, and I wanted to hit that fast forward button, but I also wanted to know what happened next, so I didn't hit the fast forward button. But with the cinematography and the acting was mostly good. I think that machinist there, he just completely overacted his panic. But that again, I'll say that I don't know who the actor was, but the guy that played the Nazi was what an evil bastard. And he didn't even do anything really, and I hated him the moment I saw it. I hated him. So it was well acted. That was kind of a Joffrey Baratheon thing. You just hate the guy. You hate him so much, and the reason you hate him is because he acted it well. So.
Yeah. A little bit shorter. Yeah, might have been more engrossing. I mean, it was pretty engrossing as it was. Hey, Alan.
Hey, buddy.
But so, what do we give this one? Are we done? Are we done talking about it? Or
yeah, it could be.
Do you got more? Anybody got more?
No, I've got a score. I'm going to give it a 5. Not
Okay.
because it, but because it was that good, and I really felt like I was on that submarine. I mean, it was the way they shot that made me feel like I was part of that.
Right.
That's great. That's great. I think I'll give it a 3.75. I did like it, and it's not the first time I've seen it. I'd seen it before, but like I said, it was hard to get through because of the length of it. So I'll give it a 3.75, and if they ever make a shorter version of it where they cut out some of the crap, I'll give it a 4.
I'll give it a 3.5.
Nice.
3.5, and that's a solid 3.5. Yeah, I think if you love war movies, if you like war movies, you need to add this to your library and watch it. At least once.
No one saw us scoring it this way tonight.
No one saw what?
I score. Y'all gave the low score.
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, you gave it a 5.
Really?
Yeah, you gave it a 5. Craig gave it 5 below you, 4.95. So.
Nice.
Well, shall we move on to The Great Escape?
Yeah, let me find my notes here. Okay.
You look like you're looking through the camera up there. When you were doing that, you looked like you were looking through the camera up there on the.
No, I was just looking for my notes. So the other movie we picked was The Great Escape. And this it's a fictionalized telling of a true World War II escape that took place in Nazi-occupied Germany. The 1963 film is based on Paul Brickhill's 1950 book of the same name. I have never read the book, but I've heard it's a good story. Starring everyone who was ever in an action film circa 1963, including Steve McQueen, Richard Attenborough, James Garnett, Donald Pleasance, James Coburn, James Donald, Gordon Jackson, Charles Bronson, and David McCallum. The Great Escape killed at the box office and it was nominated for several Academy Awards. Back when Allen was only 30, in 1943, a group of Allied airmen POWs who consistently escaped from prison camps are relocating to Stalag Lusk III, an inescapable prison under the command of Colonel von Luger. Roger Bartlett, the squadron leader and head escaper, is threatened by the Gestapo that if he tries another escape, he's going to be shot. Bartlett, played by Attenborough, says, "Fuck it, let's have the entire camp escape." He hires Steve McQueen, an American pilot, hires is kind of a euphemism, to escape, do recon, and then get recaptured, all the while having the entire camp take part in digging 3 tunnels codenamed Tom, Dick, and Harry. Other camp members grift stuff, forge stuff, engineer stuff, and fabricate clothing. They even have a choir sing Christmas carols to mask any sound coming from the tunnel digging. That is the crux of the film right there, is about how they escape, what they do to get out. Excuse me. The day of the escape, there's an air raid, and only 76 of the 250 men in the camp actually escape. Unfortunately, 73 are caught, and 50 of those are executed. Steve McQueen's motorcycle escape attempt is considered one of the best stunts scenes in movie history. Although I don't get it. There were a couple of jumps that wasn't that great. It was good, but I guess that was what they did in 1963. James Coburn, Charles Bronson, and some other dude, the only 3 who make it back to their respective countries. So The Great Escape should really be entitled The Great Plan, because honestly, this whole movie is all about how they're going to escape, not the escape itself. There is quite a bit of the film after they escape and how they get caught and that stuff, but really they should have called it The Great Plan. There's a lot more to this film, but it's more of a drama than an action movie, just like Das Boot. Lots of bad guys, but the colonel who ran the show at the prison camp was not a terrible person. Yeah, he worked for Nazis, but if you were a German and didn't, you got dead. There were a couple of dumbass guards as well, and you can clearly see where the TV show Hogan's Heroes came from. Pretty much everybody who starred in or worked in this film is dead, so you're unlikely to get an autograph, but there are at least 2 dudes still alive, but they've got to be in their 90s by now. I like the movie, but again, it's a drama, and it is definitely dated. What do my compatriots think? Did you guys like it or no?
You want to go, boss?
I'll go. I had some issues with this movie. I'm going to start. First off, I'm going to say I did not hate it. So I'm not complaining because I didn't like it. I'm complaining because I saw this movie as a child, and it is a very different movie to watch as an adult. Things that I picked up on is none of the uniforms look right to me. Like, I had trouble distinguishing between the Germans and the prisoners because the outfits didn't look right. So I don't know why.
They're not outfits, having their uniforms.
Well, they're, what I mean, their uniforms didn't look right. Another thing was that Steve McQueen didn't even look like he had on a uniform. He looked like he was just hanging out. And then I read where he signed up for this movie only to show off his motorcycle riding skills.
Yep.
So, and did you know, because I'm sure you picked it up, but he also was the German soldier chasing him on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And that I noticed because he had a very distinctive way of riding a motorcycle at the time. Anyway, so those were little things that kind of nitpicked at me. And last night I made the comment that 2 hours and 27 minutes into this movie, I was thinking there is no great escape. They didn't escape. They got caught. And then they got killed, and it sucked, and I was not expecting that. I don't know what I remember from a child. I just remember them riding the motorcycle through the grass, I guess. But I did not realize everybody died, and it sucked, and I didn't like that.
Anything else, Abby?
I did like. I liked the way that it was, and that there was no main character. They were all main characters. I liked how the cinematography of it was showing the groups of the men together instead of like really focusing on one. But also, little trivia after the fact, um, I found out that Pleasance was actually a prisoner of war during World War II.
Yeah,
So I thought that was interesting.
yeah. He was
But
shot down. I
my
mean,
2 cents worth.
well, okay, I'm going to nerd out a little bit. So you have James Rockford, you got Bullet, you got the dude from all the Death Wish movies, you got Napoleon Solo, you got the guy that started Jurassic Park, and there's not a whole lot of action. I mean, you got this great group of nerd ass characters, that this is my third favorite POW movie behind Star Wars 17 and King Rat. I think King Rat is probably my favorite World War II POW movie. Maybe Mr. Christmas 2 is up there above this one, I think, because this one is just long. It's a lot of good acting in it. It's cool to see Bronson. It's cool to see Dave McCollum. Young. He's not the old NCIS guy. Um, this is definitely a vanity project for McQueen. Definitely. They had problems with him on the set all the time, and they had to assuage his ego a lot on this. Especially James Garner had to. Donald Pleasance, how you said he was a POW, and he was talking to the director. I think it's James Sturgis, and James Sturgis was like, I don't need your input. And then he found out, yeah, he was shot down in World War II, held in a prison camp, and tortured. And so then he brought him in, and Donald Pleasance was a technical advisor on the set also. So I mean, shut that down. But it's a good movie. It's just long, like you said, long. Um, and if the reality of the movie was, they were hunted down after the escape, and you never really. When I was young, I didn't catch that either when I watched this. And then I read later on they killed a bunch of them, after they caught them, and so you're like, oh, and there was another thing I had, but yeah, the uniform parts, yeah, it looked like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, The War Lover, with McQueen, where he's a bomber pilot, and it looks like he's wearing the same, like he just walked off the set wearing that.
Probably did.
Yeah, probably did.
Wow.
This is worth seeing, and if you haven't seen it, definitely, have a break in the middle of it. Oh yeah, James Garner, his character was Australian, right? So you would have never known that, other than them mentioning a few things. Doc, did he do a good accent? No.
You mean James Coburn?
No, James Garner.
I didn't know he was Australian.
Yeah.
I thought he was American.
It was Coburn, wasn't it?
His character was Australian, and
Wait a minute, you're talking about James Coburn though, not James Garner. James Garner.
no, I believe it's James Garner.
James Garner is the one who was with Donald Pleasance. They were buddies.
Rockford.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Rockford.
Jim Rockford.
And he didn't bother to do an Australian accent in the movie. He couldn't do one. So that's back in the day when you saw guys doing English accents, not doing English accents. They're just straight up. Well, look at Kevin Costner in Robin Hood. Well, I thought that was funny. I didn't know he was Australian. I read that. I read that.
I didn't know that until right now.
Oh, and I forgot James Coburn. Yeah,
James Coburn. He was Australian in the movie.
And he played one of the coolest spies in movie histories too. And was it in Mike Flynn? Was that him?
Actually, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had all these good actors, but not enough action. Anyway, this is a good one. It's not my favorite POW movie by far, um, but it's worth watching. Uh, Steve McQueen. He was the man back then, and you could definitely tell that they catered to that in this movie.
Hold
You
on.
know,
Y'all have totally skipped over Charles Bronson.
well, Charles Bronson was great,
Yeah, you
but
mentioned Death Wish. Yeah, Charles Bronson.
yeah, Death Wish. Yeah, I said Death Wish. The guy, I couldn't think of his name. Paul something in Death Wish. Paul,
Yeah, I don't remember.
I
Well,
don't
so
know. Rich will give you one of his ARs if you find out his name. I'm kidding. I'm
I have some
kidding.
Charles Bronson trivia. Y'all want to hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
So while making this movie, Charles Bronson met David McCullum's wife,
Oh
fell in love
wow.
with her, and told her jokingly he was going to steal her away from him. And then he did. That would go on to be his wife, and y'all might know her as Jill Ireland.
Hmm.
That's who?
Jill Ireland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. She was in a lot of his movies on the later, his later career. She was in a lot of his movies.
He also used to be a coal miner and advised them on the tunneling.
Yeah, yeah. He was pretty badass. You know.
Yeah.
Agreed.
This movie was full of manly men.
Yeah. Just not enough manly men action.
I know.
Max said there's no shower scene either. Max was been bugging me about that. I said, well, I didn't make the movie, Max.
I felt there was a lot more focus on the British actors than on the American actors in this, and it
Yeah.
was just because they were the ones leading the charge in the whole in the entire escape attempt. It was just they were sort of the bosses, and while Charles Bronson was the actual, he was the lead digger, and what would you call? I almost said Cool Hand Luke. What would you call Steve McQueen? He was he was just an American airman that
Yeah.
was good at getting away, but he still didn't get away because they caught him in the end. So it was just like I said. I thought it was more focused on the British actors, specifically Attenborough,
Yeah.
who wow did he look different in Jurassic
Jurassic
Park?
Park.
Huh? Wow, just amazing.
So let me
But
ask
he
you,
gets old, so
and I should know this, but I don't. Where's Scott Baker when you need him? Historically wise, is this when there were more British prisoners of war because America hadn't really started in the war yet?
I
And that might be why they filmed it that way.
yeah.
It
So
might.
this was 1943.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, it wasn't. I mean, we were there, but it
Mhm.
wasn't. It wasn't like 1944 or 19. That was
Yeah.
when America was really stepping into it. I
Well, I
mean,
was
it was there
wondering
in 43.
if it was because like the only Americans that were over there had come through Canada. For a while, people that wanted to fight in the war, America wasn't part of, they would go and join other units to get to fly in the war, like
You know,
Canadian and British.
it seems like this is a weird statement, but Japan attacking Pearl Harbor did the UK a favor
Yeah.
because who knows how who knows when we would have entered the war after
Yeah.
that.
Well, there was huge anti-war sentiment in the United States, and
Yeah.
there were many people who wanted to side with the Germans.
Oh
Like,
yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. And then I think when exactly what you just said, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, everybody's like, "Fuck it, we're getting in the war," and they did.
Yeah.
There
well,
were American pilots that were already flying. There were American pilots that went to England and they were flying for England at the time, prior to the United States actually joining the war.
Oh, I know Ben Affleck did. I watched Pearl Harbor.
That's right. I forgot about that.
He helped save the day.
Same thing happened in World War One, by the way.
Oh yeah, what do they call that? What's the name of those flyers?
The Lafayette Escadrille.
Yes, thank you. Yes. That's right.
Excuse me.
And there's some other actor saved us during that one. I remember that one.
Oh, James Franco.
James Franco. Great. James Franco and Ben Affleck. World War One and Two. They helped save the UK. Ah, nerds. Nerds. Um, so Hallie, you're a big Steve McQueen fan, are you not, or no?
I am. I love Steve McQueen.
So what do you think of him in this one?
I think he was just there to ride motorcycles and look cool. I mean,
Yeah.
the character just seemed like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have a big part.
Totally unnecessary.
Yeah. Because I think James Garner was him and Bronson were the big American stars, and it's supposed to be at the beginning of it. They're supposed to be, the two American leads at least. I forgot to mention James Donald, who played the commander of the British. He was the doctor in the movie where they're building the bridge. What's that movie called?
Bridge on the River Kwai?
Bridge on the River Kwai. Yeah, he was a doctor on that, the one that survives.
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. I think he's probably in almost every British World War II movie, But hey, Craig said McQueen's no Wahlberg. Oh, here's some stupid trivia. He was in the Tower Inferno with Paul Newman, right? I think I said this one already. He had to have the same amount of lines and movie time as Paul Newman in that movie. And McQueen played the fire chief, and Paul Newman was like the main civilian hero in it. He actually probably should have had more lines than McQueen. But that's how his ego was. It's like, holy crap, dude, you're in your 40s now. Come on.
He died early.
Yeah, he did.
Clark. He died early. So.
Hey, Clark.
Hey, Clark.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna rate this one, boys and girls?
Hallie?
I'm gonna give it a 3.75.
Big Mike?
I'll give it a 3.5.
I think I'm gonna give this one a 4.
Wow.
Again, not an action movie, definitely a drama, but I liked it a little bit more, I think, than Das Boot, and it wasn't as long as Das Boot. It's a movie that I think I'm going to watch again. I will probably not watch Das Boot again, just because it's too long. Unless I can, get that fast forward button going. Excuse me, but this one, special place in my heart type of thing. I used to watch it with my dad now and then. He loved this movie. But yeah, it was good. So I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, that makes a difference. Memories and who you share a movie with. I remember watching the Green Berets with my dad, and he was like, Alan, if I would have watched this before I went over, he said I probably would have gone. Y'all died almost.
That's a brutal flesh.
Yeah, definitely a propaganda movie, but it's still enjoyable. I think it's enjoyable. But yeah, Dan, we should do an Irwin Allen. Yeah, we've talked about doing an Irwin Allen. Earthquake.
Yeah. Towering Inferno. Flood.
Yeah, I remember Flood. That was a TV one, right? Yeah. Was that a TV?
Yeah.
Were you into those, Having?
Into what?
Those old Irwin Allen disaster movies? Earthquake, Towering Inferno, Side Adventures.
Those came out like in the 80s when I was not really into that.
Yeah, that's true. Because they tell like 90s when they kind of died out, huh, Rich? Something like that.
Yeah. But they had a big resurgence, like 2015. They started again with The Day After Tomorrow and the one with John Cusack. What was that one called?
2012.
2012. Yeah, the whole world floods.
Yeah.
So there was, and I think that I don't know that we can call those disaster movies like Armageddon. I mean, it's kind of they're apocalypse movies, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them. But
End of the world as you know it movies.
yeah, people got, I think, they got into the apocalyptic type of stuff, not necessarily post-apocalyptic, but apocalyptic. Something, and then they applied disaster movies to that apocalyptic stuff, and we got all those films. And honestly, they're not bad. I like all of them. They're all pretty good. That one, Deep Impact,
Yeah.
with the meteor hitting, and they did Armageddon. Jeez.
That's right. They came out at the same at the same year. They came out. I
Yeah,
believe.
it was like 3-4 months apart. Because I was looking at them and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't we just see this movie?
I think Armageddon was more fun.
Yeah.
Was a fun movie where the other one was more serious. It was a good movie. Good movie. I think they both are good movies. But Armageddon's one I'd watch again.
Yeah.
Sudden Impact or Deep Impact. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And
Everybody
I
died.
need some hope at the end of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
What did you say, Heather?
I need some hope at the end of those movies.
Yeah, that's just hard. And that 2012 movie, that's another, you're hopeless. Yeah, everybody's gonna die. But there was one scene in that flick that I just didn't like, and it was when the girl drowned. I hated that. I absolutely wanted her to live, and she drowned. I mean, she was. I'm not going to call her an innocent. She wasn't an innocent, but she didn't deserve to go out like that. And then there was like the space movie. Remember The Core?
Yeah, The Core. Yeah.
There was a lot of those type of flicks. Yeah, it was good.
They're fun, But like Hadley said, I like movies with hope. Just like writing, I like books that have hope at the end, And I hate when people. Okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. That's why I put in Jet Island and getting away with money. I hate when people get money and they can't keep it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it started like with me with the Brady Bunch. They'd win a contest and the dad would be like, "Well, you should give this money to the starving kids in the Sudan." And then Bobby would be like, "Yeah, I should. I don't need $10 on you, boy. Okay, here, Dad, give it to the kids in Sudan." I think it started with that. I hated that. It's like, can't they keep anything? Or if they win a sweepstakes, they can't keep it. It's like, why? Why? Americans play the lottery. Somebody wants to be wealthy. I want to be wealthy. You want to be wealthy. Boss wants to be wealthy. I mean, I hate that. That's just a pet peeve of mine. In the 70s is really bad for that. And then sitcoms are really bad for that.
Yeah.
Or they win the money and then they die. I mean, it's like.
Just as bad.
Yep.
Did you see what Landa said? That voice bothered my dog.
That's my Bobby Brady. I'm sorry.
That was a pretty good Bobby Brady. That's who I pictured when I heard the voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So can we talk about what I've been wanting to talk about for like weeks now?
Absolutely.
Do it.
Are y'all watching Tulsa King? Season 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, it's a great show.
And I've done because I said this about Fine, but I always loved it. I was not a Sylvester Stallone fan, and this show, it puts him in a whole new light. He was born to play this role, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
I can't give nothing. Every week I enjoy his acting more.
Yeah, Tina didn't like him either that much as an actor, and she loves his show.
Yeah, it's a great show. Danny Delaney's killing it.
Yeah.
So I think the pretty blonde girl that's into the horses, I think that's Stallone's daughter, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And that guy Ming, he was a pretty good villain.
Oh, yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's Thresher's name? His real name?
Neil McDonough?
Neil McDonough. Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's always good as a bad guy.
He is.
Those cold blue eyes of his.
Yeah. Well, he was. He played Buck in Band of Brothers. He
Yep.
was great. Absolutely great. He was. He was a really good guy.
I guess he's a pretty decent person too.
I don't know anything about him other than I like his acting.
Yeah, he's a pretty. I guess he's a pretty decent guy. But that all the little characters. I love Bodie, Martin Starr.
Yeah.
I love his character.
Great.
And you love when Stallone's getting high. It just cracks you up, because you know he's high, he's being silly, and
He's laughing.
Yeah.
He's eating the lollipops and stuff. And Max Casella. Oh my God.
Yeah, Max Casella. What was he from? Was he from Doogie Howser or?
What I remember him from was that freaking cowboy movie with Billy Crystal.
Oh yeah.
Stern, Jack Palance. It was right before Jack Palance died. What the hell was the name of that movie?
What was that one? Yes.
City Slickers. Yes, thank you. Yeah. That's
Well, did
where
you ever
I
see?
remember Max Casella from.
Did you ever see Sergeant Bilko with Steve Martin?
Yeah.
He's the one that dressed up as a girl. One of
That's
his soldiers. Yeah. But he was in some sitcom in the '80s. I don't have my IMDb, but
I'll look at my.
like Doogie Howser or one of those. He was his sidekick. But yeah. And the dudes in New York, the monsters in New York. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that Dominic guy.
Such a good story.
Right.
Mm.
See.
Chicky. Oh, Chicky. That character there.
Chicky, yeah. His name is Dominic something.
He was in something else that I saw recently. I can't remember what it was. But he played
Reacher.
a good cop.
He was the cop in Reacher, the good cop.
Yeah.
In Reacher. Yeah.
Paper spiders.
And if y'all are not watching Tulsa King, let me just say that it is another one of the Tyler Sheridan shows that we all really, really like.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's great.
I think it's his best one myself. I haven't. I'm waiting for Yellowstone to be over before I watch Yellowstone, and I love Mayor of Kingstown, but I think this is just top notch.
Well, you know why? Because it's got a lot of humor in it,
It does.
and you like the characters. You really like all of them. At least his band, his mob. You like his mob.
Yeah.
And this is one I look forward to. And I look forward to Mayor of Kingstown when it's out, but not like this.
It's for different reasons.
Yeah, this is kind of
That's dark.
it's kind of a good feeling show in a way. So far.
Speaking of dark, have y'all been watching Special Forces Lioness or Special Op Lioness?
I've got the first 3 episodes done. I think there's 4 out, but I've only watched 3.
I've watched 2.
Are there 3 or 4 out right now?
I don't know.
I think 3.
Okay, then I'm caught up. I thought there might be 4, but I know I've watched 3. And all 3 episodes, again, Tyler Sheridan, fantastic. Excellent.
Yeah.
I love that first episode.
Yeah.
Well,
There's no shit.
he did Sicario, right? And this one has a major Sicario feel. I mean, it's dealing with the same kind of stuff, which is great because I love the gunfights in Sicario 1 and 2. And this one has a lot of that feel to it. And that's why.
There's a Sicario 3 coming.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard.
Those
like
are great
that.
flicks.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Max said there's 4 out. Okay, so there's 4 episodes out right now.
I'm trying to think. Maybe I need to go watch. I know the last one I watched, they reintroduced a character from last season. So that's the last one that I saw.
And I like Sheridan. I like his character in Lioness, but come on, dude. Get off the horse that keeps stopping on a dime. Put your shirt back on. Come on, man.
Oh, hush.
We know you're swinging. You got all these shows. You got millions in the bank. We know you're the man.
He is the
I
man.
need to keep buying those horses. Those horses are expensive.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget.
The new
Oh, go ahead.
came out.
What are you watching that on? I can't get it on Paramount Plus or Peacock.
Which?
Yellowstone, the new season.
Oh, I
It's
haven't.
in Paramount and its own CMT. And they released the first episode, which I watched on YouTube.
Oh.
And I think somebody had recorded it with their cell phone. It was terrible. So then I went and bought it on Amazon so I could rewatch it and pick up what I missed. It was really good.
Okay. Because our carrier doesn't carry the Paramount network. And
I heard it's on 2 servers. One of them starts with an S and one of them starts with a P. But it's not Plex.
yeah, Philo and Swing, I think.
Yeah.
Sling. Yeah, because of licensing. So Peacock will show up maybe next year, and Paramount might show it next year. It depends. It's
They
crazy.
said that Paramount, they said that Peacock was going to have it, but I had not seen it, that it was uploaded yet.
Yeah, it's not. I checked it today. We're like, what the hell? Hey, before I forget, Landa, we'll pick a movie. We're not going to leave you hanging for next Thursday. We'll get you a movie here within the next 2 days, right, Rich?
Don't let
Next
them
couple
lie, Amanda. They will leave you hanging to the last minute. What they do.
Yeah.
After buy.
We will. Late night with the devil next week is Landa's pick. So Landa will be joining us next Thursday, guys.
That's
Can't
right.
wait.
I'm out and Landa is sitting in for me, and I know that y'all will probably like her and want to keep her. So,
Well, we want to keep you, but you're like, hey, I got this job stuff and this moving, and I don't got time for you guys.
I'm hobnobbing next week.
Just leaving us to bleed.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll have a good backup.
Joe Pickett, that stopped.
Oh, Joe Pickett. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so
That's it. Pickett was in that Australian cowboy.
yeah, I was just gonna say that if you're a fan of Longmire and Joe Pickett, they both star in this new Territory show. It's really good. I talked about it last week, but it's a modern western that takes place in Australia, and they're like cattle barons, but the land they own is the size of Belgium, so it's enormous. It's huge, and there's no way to police it all. So it's just there's lots of politics, and there's some good violence. It's great. It was I think it was like 6 or 8 episodes. It was fantastic.
I'm going to have to check it out. It's got the gal from Fringe in it, too, right?
Yes, actually, it does. Yeah, and I think it's Netflix. I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was good.
Season 2 of The Diplomat's out too.
Good night, Clark.
Good night, Clark. Thanks for joining us.
Night, Clark.
Yeah, we missed.
I haven't seen the first season of Diplomat, but it looks good. That's the Kerry.
You know, they have that Dune series coming out on Max.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I saw that could be interesting.
There is a series called Teacup on Peacock that I'm going to watch.
Oh, what did you say?
Excuse me. I've been sick this week. There is a series called Teacup on Peacock.
All I'm hearing out of you is peephole.
I know. It sounded dirty to me. I was like, what? What are you watching?
Can you say that one more time?
I put it in the chat.
Teacup. Oh, okay.
Teacup on Peacock.
I have not watched that.
Say that 10 times real fast. Teacup on Peacock.
No.
It doesn't help that I can't talk.
Craig heard it too.
Craig's wishing it was people.
Damn. Oh yeah, Max, I'm putting Silo off because I want to rewatch the last season, and then I'm going to watch Silo again. But before I can do that, I don't know if you guys are into animated stuff, but on Netflix, Arcane season 2 came out, and I'm rewatching the first season now. It's just time; I just can't get to it. Yeah. So I'm going to do that, Max. Then Silo, because Silo was great. Silo's post-apocalyptic too.
I've been watching Hysteria. I think it's the one I told you about, Alan, that it's about the kids that form the satanic cult to during the 80s. It's
Is it good?
actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. The mom gets possessed by the devil.
Oh,
So it's got a different spin on it. It's a little bit funny, but it's a little bit dark. And if you're a kid of the 80s and you remember that Satanic Panic, it's kind of fun.
I gotta check it out. Did you ever see that series with the guy with Ted? He was on Scrubs, and he was a sheriff, and he was fighting Stand Against Evil. Do you ever watch Stand Against Evil?
No.
Oh, you should check it out.
Oh, like one or two episodes, and I don't know what channel it was on.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at now, but it's got an Evil Dead vibe.
Stan or Stand?
Stan, S-T-A-N.
He is Stan.
Looking it up now.
Dan
And
versus.
on that one I was telling you about, the Hysteria that's on Peacock, Bruce Campbell is the sheriff.
Okay.
John C. McGinley's in it. I might have to watch this.
Yeah.
On Fox.
2016 to 2018.
Well, kids, it's that time again, and we're going to let you go next week with that special guest, Landis Saldana. So y'all be sure to tune in, and we will be seeing y'all then.
Have a good weekend.
Next week. Thanks for coming, everybody.
That's going to do
Yep.
it for this week's show. For notifications each time the Wyrd Realities Network goes live, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You can expect fresh weirdness 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. But before we depart, let me give a special shout out to our incredible patrons, Mike Lewis, Landis Saldana, and Alan Lassiter. We couldn't keep the lights on here at Wyrd without you. And a very special thanks to our partners that keep Wyrd Reality spinning. It's you guys who make our weird world go round. And if you're interested in supporting our endeavors, consider joining the Cabal of Wyrd over at Patreon. And keeping you entertained and bringing you new content is our goal with every cent that you donate. And if you are interested in partnering or sponsoring, be sure to send us an email at weirdrealities@gmail.com. We are always interested in making new friends and creating a new tapestry of strangeness with you. So, until next week, kids, stay weird, you beautiful weirdos.